Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to 101 Live. And I do believe that Apollo will be coming back. He's just having technical difficulties at the moment. So how are you, Apollo? Apollo. There we go. Nearness. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed the break from Arsenal, even though I haven't been I'm not traditionally a fan of like international football.
Mm.
I did catch out some of the games. I watched the Scotland one on stream. Watched the England one. I think it was Sunday. Was it Soccer Aid was on as well. So like all that was pretty nice. So I'm glad that domestic football is back. I just
Yeah.
hope Arsenal could make me smile again and not frustration is what I'm looking at. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, I really do hope. What's up, Kieran? I hope that, Norwich do get beaten by us on Saturday.
what's
What's up, 18?
I'm
Um,
18.
I think that, we've got some injuries, well, some injured players coming back. I do believe Partey is coming back, or has come back. He's in training. Who else? Gabriel, has he come back as well?
Yep,
Um,
he's back.
who else do we have injured? We had so many injuries. It was unreal. Ben White as well. He's come back from COVID, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep. No, that's right. He should be ready to go. I mean, he would have probably come back middle of last week. So you just have to hope that yeah, he's been training and that he's ready to come be match fit.
Excellent. Guys, do leave your comments in the box or in the chat, and what do you think about Saturday? Is it a win? Is it a draw? Is it a loss? How are you feeling about Vinay? How are you feeling about Arteta? How are you feeling about Edu?
That's right.
I don't know if you saw the any of you guys saw the interview that Edu did. I believe it was with Arsenal Fan TV, not Arsenal Fan TV, but AFTV, or the Arsenal channel, I should say, or was it with Sky?
Oh, the one the one with
The
Sky.
one that you previewed.
Yeah. That's the one with Sky.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting to hear what like you have to say about it. I think I made like my video pretty clear on the situation. Like he looks nervous. I could tell the pressure is on. Um, and I could tell that they probably know that they've made mistakes, but
Yeah.
now they're kind of trying to fix things, trying to find out a way forward, trying to make the fans happy. But I think that you just have too many smart fans out there that know, like something just isn't right, and I really just aren't falling for it. And I think that the only person that could kind of save the likes of Edu is Arteta. Like
Mm.
how good is Arteta? Because he's the only one that could prevent Edu from not like, losing his job. So two.
Yeah, I was watching your review, not preview, but review of and your reaction video to yesterday, and I'm just thinking, well, he didn't really answer the question of, what are you going to do about this mistake, or what are you going to do about this mess? I mean, he just worked his way around the houses into town to avoid the question. And I just think that, the fact that we're now 4 games in, if you include Saturday's match, we have no points. We're propping up the table on goal difference. And I just think, when I look at our transfer window, I'm happy with it to a degree. But then also I just think that when you look at some of the players that Arteta has ousted, I don't care what anybody says, he's ousted some of those players, and we're talking
Absolutely
about
right.
Saliba, we're talking about Nketiah. As far as I'm concerned, Maitland-Niles, although there's some talk about Maitland-Niles being begged to stay and all the rest of it. So
I did hear that. I did hear that.
it's like when you think about the players that he's ousted, which he could have. I mean, Joe Willock, Torreira, Guendouzi, all these players that could have actually made a difference. They could have made a difference last season. We could have been possibly in Europe.
True.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about, those players, and when you think about, the players that he's brought in, as I said in the comment section of your video yesterday, there are players that there has to be some form of what do you call it? There has to be some form of preference.
Yeah.
Over what he's bought to what he didn't buy. Although he didn't have a hand in Tierney, but he likes Tierney.
Yeah. Well, I think that.
Well, I think so anyway.
No, well, I think certain players, like, they are so good that I think Arteta just has like no choice but to kind of play them. Like Tierney has shown most of the time. I mean, this season he hasn't so far been that great, but most of the time he's shown that he's super consistent. He's at times just kind of driven the team forward, even though he's a defender. So I mean, that's someone that like you want. You know, Saka has it. I think Smith Rowe at time has it. Pepe was getting it in the second half of the season where they were able to kind of take the game by the scruff of the neck, as everyone says, and push on and really affect the game. And I think that that's something that Arteta has no choice but to do that. But some of the other players just didn't even get a chance to be able to even do that, like the Guendouzi's and Torreira's are as well. I really hope that both of us are wrong, because I just have this feeling that we might go backwards. And I want to look at positives. So far, I still see nothing that I could really latch onto. But right now on Saturday, I just have hope. I have hope that I believe that Norwich are a worse team than us. There's a reason why this game is at 3 p.m. where none of us could watch it on TV, but because it's two the bottom of the table clash that no one wants to see. So we'll all be trying to find some US stream or some stream in Brazil to go and watch the game.
Yeah.
But, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. I mean, we are propping up the table on goal difference, and nobody thought the first game against Brentford would lose 2-0. Nobody thought it would be that bad. And then, coming into Chelsea and then Man City, I would have liked to have been a bit more fight, particularly in the Man City game where we just like rolled over. I mean, I didn't watch the game at the time, but I watched some of the highlights and I switched off halfway through because it was embarrassing to watch. Norwich go on.
No, I was saying in that game, surprisingly enough, I just think Pep took Arteta to the sword. Like he out-tactic him, and then there were so many defensive mistakes. Like surprisingly, I haven't seen that many defensive mistakes in a long time for Arsenal.
What is it with our defense? Is it because Gabriel wasn't there or Ben White wasn't there? And why? This is the second game in which or was it the Chelsea game in which one of our tall defenders was out jumped by somebody my height?
Yeah.
I'm 5'2".
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was there, but it was being masked somehow. I mean, you have to kind of maybe go back to the game last year against City where we lost to them 1-0 and Raheem Sterling won the header. But maybe it's a Gabriel thing. Maybe because Gabriel wasn't there. I really don't know. All I have is questions and no answers right now when it comes to Arsenal. But I'm hoping that now is the time for Arteta to kind of jump on. I'm expecting a massive reaction. We have a 2-week break for not just the players to get back into gear, for Arteta to recharge and kind of get things going. Whatever that was missed in the preseason, like we can make that up now. That's how I feel. Yeah,
I mean most of the Arsenal players weren't even in international action anyway, so they've had a break. Saka was. I'm happy that he scored on his 20th birthday.
Yeah.
Against Andorra.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's only Andorra. Well, I mean, people say it's only Andorra. You and I could beat them as a duo, but it's still a goal. It's still a qualifying goal. I mean, as you know, I'm not the biggest England fan, but I do like to see not just Arsenal players, but certain players do well. And I'm happy that Saka got his goal on his birthday. So Saturday is the match between us at home to Norwich. Who, in your opinion, are Norwich's danger players?
See, this is the thing. Like Norwich are so weak compared to how they were the last time. They've lost their best players. And to be honest, Arsenal should put them to the sword. Like I'm thinking Cantwell is probably like the only one. I mean, I know they got Max Aarons on the right who gives them a lot of creativity. But for me, they've got a pretty average side. Still a young team, but like they should not cause Arsenal problems. Like if like it's unthinkable for Arsenal to lose that game. Cantwell's the only one for me. Like he's got goals in him, and he has scored against us before.
Yeah.
So he's one to watch out. But it really comes in regards to the tactics that Norwich use and how we defend. Because if we defend how we do against City, then we can give like Norwich will get chances. And I mean, whether they put them away is one thing, but they'll get chances against us. And I think that's probably going to be the message on the Norwich side is that Arsenal will give you chances. Just kind of take those chances. And I hope they don't.
Or, they'll be told to, just defend the ball, get 11 players behind the ball and just get them on the counter.
Oh, no. If Arteta does not see that, because that is the standard way how you play against Arsenal. And Burnley are going to play exactly that way.
Burnley always play like that anyway against us. So, they're like more kick and hoof than anything. Just get some comments in the chat. What Cool K, man, these are pretty poor teams. I presume that a proper Arsenal shows up inspired by player returns and wins this 3-1. The alternative is that we get a new manager. I guess it's a win-win match. That's Cool K. Kieran Allen says, I think Arsenal will pull this game with a 2-0 win. Cool K says, if we could get some confidence into this team, some more of the players he wants in a team, who knows? The weird spell he has behind the scenes might start to make sense to us. Apollo 18 says Apollo is the...
I think that's also the only one.
Oh, Apollo's the only one who mentioned that Ben White and Gabriel were missing. I know David Luiz, the 6 players on COVID. That's 9. Well, I mean, David Luiz is left. Ben White, I believe... Ben White has just come back from COVID. Who else had COVID in the team? I can't remember.
Well, they claim that it was Aubameyang and Lacazette, but I believe that's just I don't believe that that's the case. Because if that was the matter, then they would have said that from the beginning. I do think that there is some truth to it because Xhaka got it. Ben White got it, so it must have been around, and I think this is around the time that we faced Chelsea. So there were some, but that had it. But I'm not going to put the excuse about David Luiz because David Luiz was gone from June 30th. Like he was gone. Gabriel we knew was injured from the middle of summer. Ben White like fine, but we knew we wasn't going to have him. But still, like you still got to be able to set out a team with a strategy that all of the defenders, not just the ones that are going to start, but the ones that are coming up off the bench, that they understand a certain way of playing. A lot of the times they just don't know what's going on. And players like Pablo Mari are kind of guilty of that. So, I mean, chances are he might end up even getting a game today, depending on where Ben White is in his fitness.
Yeah. Guys, what do you have to say in the comments section? Arsenal versus Norwich on Saturday at 3:00. I know I'll be watching it on some stream, and it's not the Brazilian stream. Or was it the Brazilian derriere, as Apollo likes to say?
Yes.
But it doesn't actually say derriere, you know what he says, but this is the time that is like 1847, so I'm keeping it very clean. If the unthinkable happens on Saturday, I know how I will feel. I mean, we have to be realistic. I know I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible. You know me from the one chat. I try to be as optimistic as I can. I think Tom Ashton is more optimistic than I am. but if the unthinkable happens, then is it Arteta out? Is it Edu out? Is it V9 out? Is it Cronk? Because the thing is, you can't keep blaming the Cronkays. I know I know that we can say that, you know, the Cronkays don't have as much ambition, or that could be our opinion that, you know, the Cronkays don't have as much ambition as, let's say, an Abramovich, or as the people who own Man City.
Yeah.
So, but if the unthinkable happens, and the unthinkable has happened three times now, and we've got Tottenham coming up, and we've got AFC Wimbledon coming up as well in the cup.
Surely not. Surely we cannot lose to AFC Wimbledon.
No. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that at all. Hell no. Oh, hell no. Because if we listen, anyhow we lose against AFC Wimbledon, and this is no disrespect to AFC Wimbledon.
No, it's disrespect. No,
I will start supporting Scunthorpe.
My God,
or Cowdenbeath or Stenhouse Muir. That's how bad. That is how bad it could be. But we're not going to lose. I guarantee. Well, I'm trying to guarantee anyway. We're not going to lose against AFC Wimbledon. But Norwich, you know, they're in the bottom half of they're propping up the table as much as we are, although we're below them. Is it time for him to go if we lose on Saturday?
To be honest, he probably should go now. But if he loses on Saturday, I mean, like all that's gonna do is all the Rottweilers that are out in Arsenal fans, you're just gonna allow them just to roam free, because they're just gonna go and attack Arteta. They're gonna attack Edu, everyone that is associated with that club right now, even the owners. And I mean, we all complain that the owners didn't invest, but they've allowed Edu and the front office to spend money, and like they have, surprisingly for me, and they've actually spent a lot on individual players that I didn't even think that they would. I thought our ceiling was going to be 20 to 25 mil per player max. And I thought maybe you might get 100 mil, but not close to 200 mil is what we spent. I think it was about 175 or something like that. Like, never would I have imagined that. So him not winning on Saturday, and you know what it is, it cannot even be like a win based on a technicality. And when I mean technicality, I mean like somebody going down in the box, getting a penalty, and Arsenal win 1-0. Like that's not good enough. Like Arsenal fans are expecting 3-0.
Yeah, we're expecting like a proper game. You know, a game played on the ground. You know,
hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Oh my God, do I sound different as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So my mic looks like it's finally clapped up.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to get myself a new mic. It's just dead. But I couldn't get this one working. This is a new wireless headphones that I bought. I couldn't get it working, so I just realized there's a button on the back for the mic. So anyway, so that's taken me 20 minutes. Sorry guys, I apologize for that.
We'll hold the thought for you.
Yeah, you guys have pretty much covered everything. I mean,
no. What we haven't talked about, Apollo, is your thoughts on this. I mean, so we've covered injuries, who's still gone, who's coming back. We've covered the game so far, Norwich preview. We have to win, and if we're just about to talk about if we lose, what happens to Arteta? And
oh my God!
And
that's if.
Yeah, and I've said that, like, if he lose, like it's like, no, I don't have to say Arteta out anymore, because there'll be so many Arsenal fans just like there. It like I might as well just be silent and don't say nothing, because they'll have to do all the work for, because the game after Norwich is a tricky one. It shouldn't be on paper, but it's a tricky one in Burnley. And
I think all of them are tricky, because Norwich are just like us. They're fighting for a win just as bad as we are. So it's not like everybody's sort of talking like, Arsenal scored no goals in 3 games. Norwich just scored 1 goal in 3 games. So at least That's why they're not bottom, and that's why we are. But they're in just about as bad situation as we are. And really, what it's got to come down to is not what the manager does, not what their manager does. It's the players on the pitch. And the reason why these two teams are at the bottom of the league is, yes, because they've had some unfortunate, Norwich hasn't spent a lot of money. They've sold their most creative player. And not only is he creative, he gives them 17 goals and 12 assists, little things like that. So they've got complete creativity of the best player in their team for the last 3 seasons gone. Just disappeared.
They've got Max Aarons though, haven't they? And
yeah, but what is Robinson and Trent Alexander without Mane and Salah? That's too much pressure on a position that doesn't influence that much of the field. It's a nice addition when it's working. Like Tierney is a great addition when it's working, but the creativity should come from the core of the midfield and the front players, and some teams can deal with that. Arsenal can't, and Norwich certainly haven't been able to deal with that. So for me, I think that, look, as far as the team sheet, first of all, let me just talk about Arteta if he loses this game. Look, it's gonna appear. A lot of people talk about sack Arteta, and that's not the narrative that I run with, because these guys have a plan that they've got to move forward with. So Arteta is part of their plan. Losses and losses and losses is things are going to get worse before it gets better. Some of the fans know that, the owners know it, and Edu knows it. And for them, it's like this project has to be a complete capitulation before they just give up on it. Because if they give up on it, you're talking about 18 months of building a foundation, getting rid of 21 players, bringing in a new front office, spending 150 million this year, 86 million the year before that, 144 million the year before that. Nobody has spent that amount of money in the last, like I said in my previous video, in the last 3 summers, we've spent 2 summers, like more than anyone else in 2 summers. So that is from the board, that's a huge amount of commitment. You don't just blow up a project like that just because you're having a few bad results. That being said, the losses in week 1 was clearly down to, one of the guys just pointed it out, which I talked about in my last video, 6 guys on COVID, 3 guys injured. That's 9 of your squad. That's 9 of your squad out against Brentford, a team that beat 4 Premier League teams in cup games last season. So it was never going to be an easy game away from home. Then you have the Champions League champions. Then you have the Premier League champions. So we can sort of excuse the situations. This game you can't. There's no excuse for not beating a team like Norwich.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I think that's where everybody. That's the reason why I said, like, this game against Norwich, it needs to be a convincing performance. Yeah. If it's a convincing performance, and like I was said, it can't just be a 1-0 penalty. I'm talking 3 create chances in open play and we score them. Doesn't matter who scores. Then that shows, you know what? Okay, those games were just bad luck. Because if it's a loss, then everyone's like, you know what? It was right. Like, it's done.
Yeah, because you can only be as good as your last game, and if it's a scrappy game, then because we know Arsenal, sometimes they'll win scrappily and then they'll go into the next game scrappily. So I'm just hoping that it is a game that's literally played where players actually fight for the ball, tackle, get some crosses in, like a proper game. Not one of these games where we're struggling against a team that plays 10 players behind the ball, which unfortunately Arsenal do have problem. Well, I guess most teams do, but Arsenal especially, we just don't know how to break teams down anymore. I don't know why. We've just lost the knack of it.
Yeah, a lot of things are not happening today. My mic is not working. My share screen is dead. It's not even working. A lot of things. There's gremlins around here today, guys. So really sorry for this. I wanted to bring up the team sheet so that we can name that. But I think I'm going to go. It's going to have to be Leno in goal, and it's going to have to be possibly Tommy. I think Tommy will start. I know he played well against in Japan in the midweek. He played well in that game. Ben White's definitely going to play. Gabriel, I'm not sure, but Gabriel played against Brentford in the friendly, so I think Gabriel will play. If he was well enough to play in that game, he'll play in this game. And I think it would be them three and Tierney at the back. And I think we'll probably go four at the back in this game. I know we've talked about three at the back, but something tells me that we're going to be back to a back four because the limitations in the midfield.
Yep.
And then I think he's going to go with Maitland-Niles and Sambi. Yeah,
you think? Wait a second. Do you really think Arteta and Maitland-Niles are going to kiss and make up, and that he's going to get games?
Well, they had that meeting that I talked about on transfer deadline day, and whatever happened in that meeting, it was that we need you. You're a part of the team this year, and that's it. Arteta sort of made his stance clear because Maitland-Niles just didn't know which way he was going. He's just like, I just want to play.
I understand that a lot of people are angry about the statement that he made on Twitter or was it Instagram, but at the end of it, you can understand where he's coming from because he wants to play and he has a particular position that he likes to play in, and he's possibly our only utility player that we have, which is why his position keeps changing. And I've said for ages that I want Maitland-Niles to stay. I've been saying that for the longest time. So, I've got him on my September calendar. So, but I do want him to stay because I think he's a good player. People don't like him, but I think he works hard.
It's not only does he work hard. I mean, when in the amount of games that he's played, when he's played at right back in the 22 winning in the 22 unbeaten streak against Emery, when he was playing for Arteta when he first took over, he has just been solid all the time. He's even been solid in the midfield. The biggest question with him is how is he can he replicate that right back form into the midfield? And he has. He's looked solid in the midfield. I can't remember hand on heart where I've looked at Maitland-Niles and said, oh, he had an awful game. I really can't. He's put in consistent performances all the time. And I think with somebody like him, I'm glad that he's plugged in because, look, it's got to be him and Sambi because there's no other options. El Nene had a slight injury. Galatasaray Fenerbahce, they made inquiries for him over the last 48 hours because their window doesn't close until today. And Arsenal shut them down.
Yep.
But when you think about it, Xhaka obviously is Xhaka and he's banned. Thomas Partey hasn't come back from his injury. I know he's just returned to training, but he did not play against Brentford. So that's the most important thing we have to take from it. Had he played against Brentford, we would have then said, yeah, all right, yep, fine. But he didn't. So I can't see Thomas Partey starting tomorrow. He might play a little part, but he definitely isn't going to start. So in that regard, Maitland-Niles is our only fit midfielder. Yeah. Him and Sambi are the only two. I don't see any other options outside of them. So I think that's the three. That's the two we got to go with in the holding midfield.
I have a player that everybody's been kind of just salivating over the last 24 hours. In the under 23s.
They definitely won't be started playing him tomorrow. That would just be too much for the kid. The worst thing you could do for somebody like that is just not nurture them in the right way. I mean, he hasn't even played for the under 23s. Yeah. And to move him, we know how hard it was for them to start Balogun. Yeah, Balogun didn't start a game all last season. And then Balogun only played because of the injuries and the COVIDs, and you're missing 9 players. You got no choice.
Yeah.
So if Maitland-Niles wasn't there, then I agree with you. They'd probably have to go to the academy. But I think that they're struggling on numbers, definitely. But it gets better as you move up to the attacking free players. It gets a lot better from there because you're spoilt for choice. I mean, how many players have you got up there? You've literally got. When I think about it, you've got Martin Odegaard, Smith Rowe fighting for the 10. You've got Nicolas Pepe, Saka, and Martinelli fighting for the wing position. So you're overloaded there. Yeah. And I wouldn't play Aubameyang anywhere but up front as the anchor man. I'm done with him on the left. Done.
He's not effective. He's not as effective for me.
Yeah,
personally.
Play him at the point and then play Saka and Pepe on the sides and then stick Odegaard in there as the number 10. You're looking a lot better on that end of the field. But I think that look, the only Norwich for me. I think you lot talked about danger players. Christos Telzolas is the danger man for them. He scored twice against Bournemouth in the League Cup, so he's a guy that's in form for them. But I believe he's had a slight calf injury for Greece in midweek, so he's actually doubtful for this game. So I don't. You need to come out of this game with a clean sheet. But at the end of the day, man, it's just a big mess. But for Norwich, if you can get in Arsenal faces, get in the players' faces, get the fans frustrated, because Arsenal fans have got weak underbelly, man. As soon as they see something they don't like, they'll turn on the team. They're turning on the team more than they're supporting the team at the moment. And that was, for me, I can still hear the boos with those 5 under 21-year-old kids that was on the field and the rest of the players against Chelsea when we were at the Emirates. That's still ringing in the back of my, and that's not how you support a team. A team that's hurt like Arsenal and suffering on and off the pitch and at the front office, hurting everywhere. The last thing the fans could do is stick the boot in, jump in, let's gang in up on them. And when the fans booed them there, that was just like, no, that's it, man. I have to call the fans out because that was wrong. And so for me, Norwich, a strength of Norwich could be to just disrupt the flow of Arsenal's play. If I was them, I'd play 5 in the midfield and I would just press in the first 20 minutes and try and make it as frustrating and hard for Arsenal as possible. And then start to sort of hear those boos coming back in from the fans. That's what Norwich need. That would be really good for Norwich. And they can use that to their advantage. But for Arsenal, they just have to weather the storm. It's a big game for them. And the fact that you haven't got the Xhakas, Bellerin's not here anymore, and it's starting to sort of, this will give you a really good look of what we can do if Partey comes back and plays. And so I think that we could take a lot of positive. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win, home win for Arsenal. But I think that there's a lot of things that they can do turning it around. Outside of that being said, one of the screens I wanted to pull up was I can't believe I can't get my I can't get this screen thing working. Unbelievable. One of the things is I've kind of given up on Lacazette this year because Lacazette because he didn't want to talk about the extension and everything like that. If there's no future for players here, then they should be secondary, in my opinion.
The thing is, though, if we can remember, not last year, but a couple of years ago, what we were told is that we will not, their words, not mine. We will not allow players to run their contracts down. We will try and get them signed if they've got 18 months left on a contract or words to that effect. Yeah. And what we're seeing is we're seeing this whole story playing out, and we're still allowing players to run down their contracts.
So I think there's a reason for that, though.
Trying to shut fans up.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that, because you're right. They did say that, and it seems like that's exactly what they're doing. They won't. For them, they're not going to have. When you've got 2 years left, look at Leno. Leno's got 2 years left on his deal, and actually, I found out the latter year's an option. So, yes, he got a year left. Yeah, has he got a year left? But I think they picked up the option anyway. So that's the reason why it's still 2023. But the bottom line is, if he's not signing an extension, then you got to sell him. So you're right on that part. As with Lacazette, they have been, since last season, they've been talking to him about a contract, but he's turned about three of them down, and now they've turned around and said, well, that's it. That's it.
You got time to sell him. You can sell him in January, but then I can see this being another episode of a player having their contract wound right down to the point where he's gone for free.
So what I've been told is Lacazette, Nketiah, Chambers, El Nene, and Klasnach. That's 5 players. That comes up to 512,000 a week. So that works out. That's 20. Oh my God! My math. That's 27 million a year in wages, right? they've told those players with the last year of their contract running down that you're free to go in January for free. Yeah, you're in January, you're free to go for free. And that's basically those players off the wage bill for the second half of the season.
Wow.
And there'll be no fees for that. They've already told those players there'll be no fees. We're not stopping you. Go and find a team if it's outside of England, because remember you can do contracts if you with teams outside of England. So they're saying if you do a contract with a team in Europe, you can go, and that's you off the wage bill. So that's fair. I can't see anything fair than that.
One of the things that that's always concerned me is that once players who play for Arsenal leave, they go on and do better things. Is it the coaching? Is it the mentality that is instilled in them when they're at Arsenal? What is it? Because they leave Arsenal and they go on to win. They go on to win honours.
Yeah.
If you look at Giroud, if you look at Van Persie. If you look at Fabregas, etc., Henry, it's.
But that was different. That was different because you were talking about Champions League team then.
Yeah, but more recently, we've had Giroud leave, and we've had other. Who else is left? Oxlade-Chamberlain. They've all left, and I always think to myself, because they happen to be playing better at their new clubs, what is it about the training at Arsenal that
it's exactly what I've talked about for this season. This season has highlighted a lack of discipline from the players to pick up the actual system and tactics that Arteta is giving his instructions out. The only thing I can see that Arteta's doing wrong is he's not making the adjustments. But I did say to Neomis last week, I think that especially in the Man City game at halftime, I just think he couldn't be bothered. I just think, well, if they're not doing what I've told them to do when the game started and I set out, we've worked all week on these tactics and our shape and everything else. If you can't even do that right, then what? If I tell you to do something different at halftime, look, there's a reason why he wants to get rid of these players. They're trying to get rid of all these players. They're not good enough. And I know you're saying like when they go to other clubs and what and but a lot of the problems have come from the veteran players. So it's kind of different with the kids. We can't say that about Maitland-Niles because he's always done his job. Joe Willock's done his job. Nketiah's done well when he's plugged in. He just hasn't played enough. But they're probably going to be looking in another direction because they've got enough up top. Yeah, remember I just said up top there they've got 2 number 10s. They've got Martinelli. They've got Saka. They've got Pepe. That's 3 wingers, and they only need 2. And then you've got Aubameyang in the middle. They've got Lacazette as a backup for him. So they don't have. There's no nothing. The top is fine. It's everywhere else. It's the defense, the midfield, all of that stuff. So there's a big, huge problem tactical wise, and the players have just had a hard time trying to do what the managers ask him to do, especially against Chelsea, having to press and the back line not doing their job. That's a David Luiz thing. That's a lack of leadership on the back line. And look, it's just going wrong everywhere. But I hope that's going to be fixed when we get the Gabriel and Ben White in, and those guys have to take control. I got a guy, AJ. AJ's a Norwich fan. AJ says, Norwich fan here. Saturday's going to be a tough match for Arsenal. Trust me. And that's what I said to you guys. Yeah, it's going to be tough. They're in the same position as we are. Is that what we're saying, what we're feeling, what our hopes are is exactly what Norwich fans are.
No, Apollo. AJ, thank you for joining the stream. It's a great comment. But we're the Arsenal, right? We go and dominate you. Like, we don't lose to you. Like, I get it. Like, Norwich will put up a nice fight, but we always win in the end. Like, it has 3-0.
Yeah,
I want to solid performance.
I'm going for 2-0. I'm going for 2-0, but a very toughly fought 2-0.
Yeah,
and I think Arsenal will make it hard for themselves.
They would do, but guys, you have to remember, you spend all this money, and you have to. And I've said to you guys over the last 2 weeks, don't matter how much money you spend, whatever you spend has to be on the pitch. So when we've had all of these results, 50 million in Partey, 50 million in Ben White, 30 million in Gabriel. Yeah, million spent on Willian, who's not here anymore. You're talking about straight away there. That's just 185 million that I've just mentioned, and none of that was on the pitch against Chelsea or Man United.
Yeah.
None of it. You need against Norwich. You're going to see that money on the pitch.
I'm looking forward to see Tommy. I've
Yeah,
heard
me
some
too.
good things about him. I've not seen him play much, but I'm seeing what he can do. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I mean, a lot of people are taking the mickey out of him, but because he's come from Sampdoria, is it Sampdoria he's come from? So and Sampdoria, they're not one of the top Italian teams,
it's Bolivia.
Bolivia,
yeah.
But they're not one of the top teams. But let's see what he can do before people start writing him off.
Yeah, he's definitely got all the mechanics there, and the way I see him read the gap plays and intercept passes and the crosses, I see him. Look, he's 2-footed as well. I want to see this guy, man. I mean, he uses his right foot when he plays right back. He plays left back as well. The goal he scored against the 30-yarder he scored against Milan was with his left foot. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, man. And a lot of these Asian players, man, they run non-stop. They are tireless.
They're underestimated, I think.
Yeah. So
well, but yeah.
Yep. So big shout out to Sentiment. A lot of you guys in the chat, man, bigging yourself up. So nice one, guy. I haven't done any content in the last 7 days simply because I think we all needed a break. I watched a lot of the content while I was away from other YouTubers, including Neomis, and I was just like, there's really no need for me to come back and talk about anything right now because we just need to reflect. We need a break. This team is giving us bare pressure. They're giving us heartache, and we just need a break.
Yeah. I took a break from it as well. Especially because I've not really seen that much international. But as far as the Premier League's concerned, it's actually given my brain a nice holiday, i.e., it's not giving me a headache. Because sometimes watching us, not the women, but the men, it's just it can actually put you off your dinner.
Yeah, I mean the women are picking up steam now. They're picking up steam a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be going to some of their games, so I'm going to definitely go to some of their games. That's for sure. They're just 2 minutes down the road from me, but not just that. But I also supply Bournemouth Football Club, so the owner, the PA, I know all of them there. So yeah, I'll definitely be going down there and giving the girls a big shout out, man. I might enjoy it. I just want to see us win, man. I got to go to the girls to get a win.
I've got some annual leave coming up before I go away for a week to Portugal. So I will be getting a game in.
Excellent. So guys, so 2-0 for me, 3-0 for Neomis, 2-0 for you, Ebony.
Yeah. It'll be a hard fought 2-0, but I think we will beat them.
Yeah, definitely, guys. So listen, guys, before I go, let me just see if there's anything from the guys in the chat that I missed. Again, AJ G saying spot on. I said many times here, I'm not interested in an army. I just want half decent football team, which is not a big ask. A team is made of many individuals, and that is culture bollocks. I don't buy into that at all. Well, there is definitely a culture problem here. You can believe that, bro. And that's look. 21 players don't leave the club within 12 months without there being a culture problem. Yeah, if there weren't a culture problem and it was all nice and rosy and everything, you wouldn't have that amount of players leaving the club and another 5 in this coming new year. Yeah, that my friend is a culture problem 101. Ashika said Edu interview clearly gave out what our first-time starters would be, especially back in line. Yeah, I felt Neomis touched on the Edu interview a little bit. I haven't really made a video on it because I thought, first of all, it's good that he came out and had added some transparency. I talked to transparency a lot, and so we needed to have that. Some of it was gaslighting. Some of it was sort of just trying to be a shield for the board and for Vinay. Vinay's the one that's hiding in plain sight. The board have just given so much money that I don't even want to talk about the board at the moment, because until these guys get sacked, then we should put pressure on the board to bring in experience to the front office. But right now, the board's done its bit, provided money. So we have to focus on the additions of Vinay. I've got a poll up at the moment on the YouTube channel in terms of who's to blame. Richard Garlick, which, to be honest with you, Richard's got the less votes because he's the chief negotiator. He's the guy that assigns the contracts. And so if you can see players not getting in a good deal, being offered too much, not getting the right salary and things like that, then that's pretty much what Richard's job is. So it's probably right that he's got the least amount of votes. But obviously Edu and Vinay for what is happening off the pitch and how we spend our money and how we promote this team and the commercial business and all of that, and finding players, scouting the players, the network of players being brought in. That's them. And Edu even said it. A lot of guys that was talking last week in the chat were saying Arteta bringing in this player. No, it's Edu's job. That's the scouting technical director. That's his job. Arteta might have some input, but it's Edu's job. So he ain't been doing a very good job. So from that perspective, guys, I think that it was good that he came out to speak, but half of it made a lot of sense when he was talking about their projections and where the team's going and the forecasts and prospects. But the other half of it was bullshit, and it was just gaslighting for the.
Is it his fault? Is it his fault for the extension in Xhaka's contract?
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And as I said. That's a Vinay, that's a Richard Garlick, that's an Edu thing. And Arteta has probably added these 2 cents with that, but Arteta's not the decision maker. He might give them some input, but he's by no means the decision maker. So look, it's just, and that's why I'm saying over the last 2 weeks, it's broken all across the board. But at the same time, for the work that they've been doing and the players they've been brought in, we need to see how that pans out, because that could be something that works really well. Or it could be that these players come in and they don't add anything. But we don't have the answers for that. So, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. I've got a Pilates class to do in 10 minutes. That's opened up again. For real. And we're going to be back on Friday with the Premier League show tomorrow. And then I'm going to be at the Emirates on Saturday. So we'll do a live stream after that and do a player ratings. And listen, I hope we're going to be happy that day. And then get off the bottom of the table. That's what we need, man. We need to start picking up points. I'll speak to you guys later, man.
All right.
Excellent. Nice one.